What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Chris and Mrs. Barn on 11970, and we got some more information. I'm sure most of you probably heard this by now, but I'm going to share my points of view and my opinion on this. But before I do, I always want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to what I have to say and listening to somebody that is going to just speak from the heart, speak their own mind, and what you take from it, that's up to you. So what I want to do is I want to show a clip, and of course, due to fair use, I can only show a sample of this clip, but I want to show you what happened earlier this morning when Bernie Sanders was talking to basically his followers, and how upset his followers are, and they feel like they were betrayed. And he gave a speech where they were cheering the whole time until he mentions that we have to vote for Hillary. So he basically was talking about how you got to defeat Trump because, you know, of all the different reasons. And yet Hillary is doing a lot of the same things that he says he's against. He was bragging about the fact that he didn't need any money from the corporations to fund his campaign, and most of his contributions came from his people doing hard work. And yet Hillary, she's getting billions of dollars from corporations and celebrity endorsements. So the people that went for the idea of Bernie Sanders, whether it's right or wrong, I mean, that's not for me to decide, feel like they've been betrayed. And I want you to see this. So I'm going to do a screen share. And of course, due to fair use, I can only show a sample of it. But I want you to listen to the crowd. The people are speaking. So let me make sure the volume is up. Let me raise the volume. And let me make sure the screen share is being heard. And of course, I will post the link to the channel that I am showing this from, and if you want to subscribe to them, please do. And let me play the clip. So listen carefully right now.
Immediately, right now, we have got to defeat Donald Trump. And we have got to elect Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine.
Listen to all those boos. That's where he loses his fan base. All the thumbs down.
Brothers and sisters, this is the real world that we live in. Trump is a bully and a demagogue.
You hear them saying, so is she?
Trump has made bigotry and hatred the cornerstone of his campaign. Throughout this campaign, he has insulted Mexicans and Latinos. He has insulted Muslims. He has insulted women and African Americans.
All right, so we're going to end it. We're going to end it right there. So if you want to watch the rest of the video and the rest of his speech, you are more than welcome to. I will post the link once this video has been uploaded. So what is happening here is, and you can see how they tried to talk about unity. There is no unity in politics unless you give somebody enough money or you threaten them enough. So Bernie Sanders' whole campaign is staying away from the corporate sellouts and how we have to stop corporations, which a lot of people are going to gravitate to. But now he's joining them. It's the old, if you can't beat them, join them. No, if you can't beat them, walk away from them. And that's why all of these people, they feel betrayed. Because here they were voting for Bernie Sanders, putting in the time and effort to make the $8 million he said he got dollars. He said he got about $8 million from contributions that averaged about $27 a piece from people. That's a lot of people that donated their time and money for him. And now he joins the very establishment that they're trying to fight against. And the people are finally voicing themselves. And if you notice throughout the Democratic convention, if you've watched it, and I've been watching some of it, I mean, like somebody like Sarah Silverman, what a joke. She goes on and tries to silence people from voicing their opinion and basically calling them fools, saying they're being foolish. Now, that's not the direct quote, but she's out of line. The people are allowed to speak their voices. They're not shooting anybody. They're not causing fights. They're showing their displeasure of being betrayed by a system that has been rigged for centuries. It's funny, people like me and others have been talking about this for years, and we got laughed at. Now they're finally, even politicians are admitting it. And now people are so sick and tired of it. They wanted Bernie Sanders in on their part because of their belief in him. And he's basically betrayed them by joining the evil empire. You know, just imagine if you'd use a Star Wars reference, if people who loved Luke Skywalker all of a sudden decided to join Darth Vader. You don't think people would be a little upset about that? The rebellion would not be happy with his choice? So that's what's going on here. There's too much corruption in politics, and you're seeing, especially the younger people, they're trying to make their voices heard the best the way they can in the corrupt system. And you could see, like, they're basically saying, oh, we changed the superdelegates, so next time it will be better. Well, next time doesn't help now. And who knows if there'll ever be a next time where somebody gets this opportunity again. The people don't want to hear, oh, next time. They want to hear this time. And I can understand why Bernie Sanders supporters are, for lack of a better word, not happy. And they're voicing it during the convention, which proves, I mean, they talked about how bad the Republican convention was. Look at this one. I mean, during the prayer, people were booing. I mean, how dare a religion in either sense pray for just one individual instead of for all of us? The hypocrisy is just absolutely amazing. So I'm very happy to see that people are voicing. And you can see in the convention, they're trying to silence them. They're going to try so hard to silence those people. So in other words, don't allow your free speech to be heard. They're not being violent. They're not cursing. They're not jumping the stage and trying to burn down the village, so to speak. They're showing their displeasure through the only thing they have, and that's their voice. And people are saying, be quiet, settle down. I mean, when what's-her-face, the one that got fired, or she resigned, I don't even remember her name, nor do I care, when she tried to speak earlier this morning, the people booed her, and she's like, settle down? Are people children? And see, this is what your leaders really think of you, your quote-unquote leaders. They view you as children who are only good when they could take your money or your vote or your land or whatever. The disrespect that they give these people, they'll pander to you when they need your vote. But if you don't do what they say, settle down, little doggies, settle down. And I mean, even Bernie Sanders' policies, he talks about minimum wage. Well, I just made a video that would totally dispute his whole thing about minimum wage. I understand that it's a big rallying point and people want it, but they don't understand the damage it can actually cause. It's unbelievable that people do not see this stuff. And I mean, another example in what he was talking about in there, he's talking about how we're going to get solar panels and other forms of alternative energy. Well, guess what? If you actually look at presidential speeches that go all the way back to the days of Richard Nixon, they've been talking about alternative energies. Yeah, they'll talk about it, and they'll say, we're going to be the ones, but they've been talking about it since the 60s. You're telling me they couldn't perfect it by now? Maybe it's because the trillion-dollar corporations that run the oil industry will never allow anything to pass to the point where it would be affordable to the average person. Yeah, you could buy solar panels, but I can guarantee you're not going to spend less than about 20 grand if you want your house completely set up to be that way. And last I checked, there aren't solar panel cars or wind-powered engines all over the planet. It's available for the extremely wealthy. I mean, good luck trying to buy one of these Tesla cars. And they still run on gas. But they're not for the average person. So yes, it's pandering to the audience. And when your opinion is no longer needed, they shush you. They silence you. They tell you to be quiet. Sit, little dog, sit. speak when it works for their agenda. So I'm very glad to see this stuff. And people are going to get exactly what they want. And, you know, there are going to be people that say, oh, Chris, all you do is complain. Well, it's because I cannot believe the people are allowing this stuff to continue and justifying it. It's not going to bring anything good. I see the writing on the wall, and I'm trying to get people to be like, hello, McFly. Don't let this happen. See them for what they really are. Watch these things as they're getting booed. They're telling you, calm down, settle down. You're out of control. How dare you? We have to pretend to be unified. Unification is just that, unification. You don't have to convince people or trick people or silence people into being unified. You either are or you aren't. So, you know, keep eating that poop sandwich that's covered in caramel and fat and sugar and syrup and chocolate. And don't complain. So, I hope some of the Bernie Sanders, I hope people will just not vote. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, the lesser of two evils is still evil. I understand that I don't have the solution. But that doesn't mean that we have to continue following an evil path because it's just the better alternative. There's got to be other ways. There's got to be people that can be smart enough to figure out a new system. I mean, you want to talk about saving money. You know, this is the day of the internet. I am reaching people right now, whether it's during this live show or a year or two later after this has been aired and uploaded, from all around the world. So in this day and age, why can't presidents that want to become president, people that want to become president, instead of touring all around the world needing millions of dollars to set up all these elaborate, like very expensive setups, which cost the taxpayers all of this money, or at the very least their donations, why can't you do things like this? Have your whole campaign done via internet. Do you think you'd need to raise billions of dollars to get behind a webcam and talk to the whole world all at once? They don't want you to think that way. They want you to think, oh, we got to fly from place to place. No, you don't. I can literally have a campaign right here in front of my little $600-700 laptop, which I already own. So it wouldn't cost the taxpayers anything. But they don't want to talk about those things. There's always ways to save money. There's always better ways. Like the typical troll comment is, oh, you do a lot of complaining, but you don't do anything to change. Well, obviously you didn't listen to the video because I said one of the first things that people can do is abolish the Federal Reserve and have our own country print its own currency, because there would be no more interest that we, the people, have to keep paying. There's a solution for trillions of dollars right there. And we wouldn't be indebted to other people. That's an easy solution right there. There's plenty of things that very smart people can come up with. But if we want to keep settling for this corruption, don't complain that you're being corrupted. If you're going to vote for liars, don't be offended you get lied to. There's always got to be a better way, and we got to make a new system quick. Otherwise, you're just going to get the same old, and they're going to promise you everything that you want to hear and then deliver you nothing. Because like I said, go back to every presidential election, go all the way back to the days of Nixon. They will talk about alternative ways of doing things as far as energy is concerned. That was back in the 60s. That was about 50 some odd years ago. When are people going to wake up? It's not going to happen. They're not going to do it. The trillion-dollar oil industry is not going to ever allow it while it's still in power. The Federal Reserve is a monopoly. They don't want the small people to have monopolies, but they don't mind companies, big, huge companies, to have monopolies. Well, Federal Reserve is a monopoly because where else can you get your currency from if you live in the United States corporation? But yet we don't seem to have a problem with that. You add some competition. How about that one? Allow the Federal Reserve to be open if you want to keep it open, but create other abilities to make other different forms of currency where the people actually have a choice of which one they prefer. Let the people speak for what they want. How is that difficult? Because when before they became unionized, each state had its own currency. Now, you don't have to do it from state to state, but maybe you can. Each state makes their own currency, which can be transferable from one state to another. depending on what kind of resources they have. There you go, competition. Competition always brings down lower prices. Look at the schools. The schools are so expensive because the government is giving guaranteed loans that guarantee the payment to the schools. So they're going to raise the prices because they know they're getting guaranteed paid. Even if the people default on the loans, they get paid by the government. Just imagine if the president knocked on your door. Let's say you have a business, you sell tools, and you lease out tooling equipment. And let's say the average price is $20 a day to lease your tools to the public. And people have to use a credit card to pay it or get out a loan for whatever reason. The president goes to you and says, you know what? No matter what happens, even if the people default on their loans to you or their credit cards, we will guarantee the payment of your product and your service. You don't think all of a sudden your prices, you're going to raise the price? Well, if the government's going to pay for it, and I don't have to worry about anybody defaulting on the loans because the government's going to take care of it, instead of $20 a day, let's go up to $40 a day. Let's go up to $50. Let's go up to $100. Who cares if they can't pay it? Government's going to give me my money. You have to see the bigger picture. You have to see the common sense. And I just don't understand. There are so many people that claim to be smart with all these college degrees and all these numbers they can pull out of their rear ends, but yet can't think of the simple solutions like I can, who is a high school graduate. And the reason I can never be president, nor would I ever want to be, is this corrupt system will never allow somebody like me. Well, because then you know these trolls would bring up the video from 2012 when I was defending myself against somebody who wanted to fight someone. Because, they must be perfect and never done anything, but, keep bringing up the same argument that gets older and older over time because they can't find anything else. The system is rigged, and until we change the system, instead of just trying to put somebody good into that corrupt system, it ain't going to work. Think of the Star Wars reference. If Luke tried to join Darth Vader like the Emperor wanted, and he thought he could change everything, they would have killed him instantly. Drowning in good intention, you're still drowning. So I'm glad the Bernie Sanders people stood up. And if you all vote for Hillary Clinton, the one person that you said you were trying to go up against, then what are you really standing for? And I'm not saying that as a Trump lover, because I've said things about both sides. Because free thinkers think for themselves, and they think about all alternatives, not just one or two. So for the people that say, I don't have any ideas, I brought up a couple of ideas just right off the bat. I didn't plan them. I didn't need a whole bunch of people going around taking millions of dollars of the the taxpayers' money to come up with these solutions that benefit the wealthy. The simple ones: abolish the Fed or create other alternative competitive currencies that you can choose to use. You can have elections being run through your internet instead of flying all over the country, instead of renting all these halls, instead of putting up these huge teleprompters and all these special effects and fireworks and balloons and all this stuff. You could do it right from wherever you're sitting on your internet and actually talk to the whole world instead of one little room for free. Because I guarantee you, whether you go to the Republican convention or the Democratic convention, I guarantee you people spent a lot of money to get those tickets. And if they had the event in Philadelphia, well, if you live in California, unless you have the money to travel, you're not going. So you're not going to hear it unless you see it afterwards. So you want to have a real campaign? Do it over the internet. Do it on your Facebook. Do it on your Twitter. Do it on the Google Plus chats. Just please disable the comments. But it can be done. So why is it that I can come up with these things, and these people that are with the suit and ties and supposed to be very respected, supposed to be very well educated, they can't come up with these things? But we'll keep applauding them, we'll keep waving our flags, we'll keep being willfully ignorant and insult the people that are actually trying to make real change, the common sense people, the free thinkers, the ones that can think outside the box. It doesn't make us better, it doesn't make us special, it just makes us different, and we're not going to just listen to what other people tell us. That's what dogs do. Dogs sit because they're told and trained how to sit. If you want to be one of those people, then when they tell you, all right, settle down, make sure you're good and quiet. Because that's what they want. They want your vote, they want your money, and they want your obedience. And they definitely want you to shut the hell up. In a free society, you should be able to boo all you want because you're voicing your displeasure about what your candidate that you work so hard for is now sold to their soul to the devil, so to speak. I mean, please, there was a poll that said 19% of the Democrats, 19% of the Democrats actually believe that Hillary has involvement with Satan. You know, it's just common sense, people. So that's it. I want to thank you guys for listening. I always love to hear what you have to say. If you want to share it, please do. Start thinking for yourself. Stop letting other people tell you how to think. And don't think just because somebody wears a suit and tie and can regurgitate a bunch of numbers that they know better. They just know better of what they've been told, what they've been programmed. And they're going to continue to pass that program on to those willing to listen and conform. And like in the Matrix, they were saying that even the people that are in the system that are not happy with the system will actually protect the system because they're just familiar with that system, even if it's not good. No thanks. Always a pleasure to have you listen. Have a great day, and let your voice be heard.